Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hello, everybody.
So tonight we'll be reviewing an army/supernatural film called Dog Soldiers, which was released in 2002.
This is becoming an old movie.
Well, it would be kind of up there.
It's over 20 years old.
Yeah. Would this make it a cult classic? We don't know.
Well, don't make it a classic. I never heard of it before.
I only heard of it recently, not longer.
Saying, so I didn't hear about it back in 2002. So, obviously, in some areas it might have flown under the radar. Yeah. So, having said that, we thought, let's give it a go.
Yes, it's an interesting one. It was going to evolve into a franchise, but somehow it didn't go so well. Yeah, well, maybe it was a good movie. Don't get me wrong.
But the idea of a franchise, it already go from here. You know, we did that, do that. Now what? So it's better to leave it alone if you haven't got enough imagination to make it work.
Yeah, well, I think that the writer/director had an idea in his head, but someone else beat him to it and said, "No, we don't want to fund your project, so you might as well think about something else."
That often happens too, which is unfortunate. So
this one takes place in Scotland, and this is an interesting one when I think about it. I mean, I like when the last movie we reviewed, which was Where Evil Dwells. That was the least likely a good movie, but we've decided to do this movie because it has a good plot and a good story behind it.
It's a bit different. I mean, we haven't done werewolves for
no, it's been a while.
Whatever.
Well, I can't really say when the last time we did a werewolf. I mean, we've done zombies. We've done a bit of vampires.
Yeah,
I have not per se yet.
Werewolves feel left out, don't they?
Werewolves. Well, it's pretty much it's pretty much their story is pretty much. Everyone knows their story. Werewolves. They hunt by full moon. They eat, and then they go about their day as ordinary human beings the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, until it comes around again, full moon and that sort of thing.
Yes. This movie makes me think of a sort of a cross between Little Red Riding Hood and the Three Bears.
Yeah, a bit. Because we won't say why at the moment. We'll let you make up your mind. Oh, now, here we go. My bits. Okay, right. Okay, Dog Soldiers, 2002 British action horror film, as Sarah said. Now, it was written by Neil Marshall. Neil also directed it. And Neil also did the editing.
Yeah, smart man.
So... must have been independent.
Yeah, interesting thing, guys. When he was doing this one, he didn't want to do a CGI of this movie using transforming the werewolves into people. He wanted to keep it pretty basic. So he wanted to keep it basic, back to the olden day of
the old way of doing it. And
werewolves.
It was quite well done, actually. So you got to take your hat off to this guy. Of course, he did a good product. He created a good movie. Now, here we go. We've got here now produced by. Now, there's a few people involved. Christopher Figg, Tom Reeve, and Dave E. Allen. So it's 3 producers. Oh, actually, here's something. The film received positive reviews and launched the career of director Neil Marshall. So, if this is his first go at a directorship, he's done very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a shame, as we said, that he couldn't do make this into a franchise. I imagine
it would have been good.
He probably had a good idea in his head where to take the story next.
Sometimes it's good to go and get a fresh idea and do something else anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, go on, Mike.
I'll run through a couple of people. I won't throw all of them. However,
there's a lot of army soldiers in this one, so you guys know.
It's based around army guys on patrol and stuff and different things, hence the words Dog Soldier in the title. Gee, it was a dead giveaway, wasn't it? Yep. Okay, Sean Pertwee is playing one of the major roles of Sergeant Harry G. Wells.
Yeah.
H.G. Wells. I wonder. Anyway,
that's an interesting thought.
No, whatever. Kevin McKidd plays Private Cooper.
Yeah.
Not a bad role.
Yeah, he's sort of the main hero in this one.
And the last man standing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Emma Cleasby plays a girl called Megan, or Megan as he pronounced it over there.
And we'll leave her story behind.
I'm not saying anything, Sarah.
Yeah. We won't tell about her story.
Can I go through this bit?
Go.
You get your bit. I've got my bit.
Shush.
Liam Cunningham plays Captain Richard Ryan. And there's a group of other guys playing soldiers and stuff, around them and stuff. But they're the main people anyway. I can't think of anything else to say about the actors, but here we go. I can't see why it didn't make more money, but here we go. Budget £2.3 million, and box office about £5 million. That's obviously English currency.
Yeah.
So in American, that might be about, I'm not sure, about 3 mil and 6.5 mil or something. I'm not sure. Anyway. I thought it should have done better. It did go to the cinemas, I believe. So maybe there's other things on at the time. Maybe the theme wasn't what everybody was looking for. I don't know, but
people get different impressions about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it also has a dog named Sam, which I don't know the name of.
Did he get credits?
Don't know. Is there any credits?
Not on my list.
He knows.
How rude.
He may not have had a credit to his name.
And he had a speaking role.
Woof.
He went woof.
Once.
And something. To try warning the people about something. That's a speaking role.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll dive into the story now, seeing as we've already got to know the characters.
You might do your little bit, and I'll just jump in here and there to help you along. Yeah.
So it takes place in a couple is picnicking or having camping out in the middle of Scotland, and they're getting lovey-dovey, and then somehow there were some creatures stalking outside their tent,
and then
dwarves. Beforehand, the girlfriend gives her boyfriend a silver letter opener.
It's a letter opener in the shape of a sword, and it was silver. It was like a little gift for him. So he got a little sword. Isn't it lovely?
Yeah, and both boyfriend and girlfriend, they get killed off screen. Or we don't see them off
we
screen.
believe she got killed, and she got dragged out of the tent. Now I think he got killed.
Yeah.
So they were hungry.
Yeah. Then we cross over to Cooper, who is a soldier who's doing a special test with some.
We didn't know he was going on a test. He's running through the woods.
He's running through the woods. He's being chased, and he eventually gets the upper hand with the other soldiers, and he's cheered. He's congratulated by the Captain Ryan, whatever his name is, and he tells him to shoot the dog that was with them at the time.
Yeah. I'll explain what's going on. You've really gone glossed all over it.
Sorry.
Okay, Cooper was running through the woods and evading capture by these other soldiers. And we thought, okay, someone's after him. But he's trying out for a special services group. And part of the thing was to evade capture or disable your enemy. Well, he evaded capture, but he didn't disable his enemy. Yeah. Because they still found him, even though he was elusive for quite some time. And the boss of the special services guy, Ryan, said, you should have put the dog out of the way because he's the one who tracked you. Yeah. And he said, here's a revolver, shoot the dog. And he refused to shoot the dog because there's no reason to shoot the dog at this point in time. Yeah. But he said he wouldn't follow a command, so... Yeah.
So the captain shot him anyway, shot the dog anyway.
And the Captain Ryan said, well, you're not getting a job in our special group now. Yeah. Yeah.
So, a few weeks later, he's actually taking part in a special exercise in Scotland with a different bunch of army guys.
Yeah, but he's met his old group doing manoeuvres in Scotland.
So it's sort of like a practice.
The first one was actually in that was in Scotland. The second one, he's actually in he was. They're both in the Scottish Highlands. Yeah, there's some mention about Wales, and I read something. Oh no, it is Cooper was actually in this thing in the beginning in Wales.
Okay, Wales.
And
I'm sorry, guys.
The rest of it was done in northern Scotland.
Yeah.
Or something.
So anyway, so he and a bunch of his platoon are going into the wilderness as a bit of a sort of exercise. Military exercise. Yeah. Anyway, they're given a map, and their platoon leader explains the situation in detail. So they head off, and they sing the army songs. It's a long way to Tipperary.
What's a rarey?
What?
Nothing.
Well, not really in those words, but they kind of whistle, and they shouldn't have.
Actually, if you're really on manoeuvres pretending to be it's real, you wouldn't be making noise walking through the woods.
You're supposed to be very quiet in case other enemy soldiers
because you're supposed to be pretending it's real.
Yeah. And Captain Ryan, is in the area, and he's he watches them from afar with his own little platoon of guys. And when it gets dark, something happens to his platoon.
Yeah, Ryan's platoon gets attacked by something we don't know what it is.
Yeah. The other one, with Cooper in it, are camping out, and they're discussing what frightens them. Cooper says he's afraid of spiders and women.
And mother-in-laws.
And Spider Women, he calls. And that was a joke, obviously, I guess, as a bit of a play on words.
Dress up, nice tights, leotards.
And his platoon leader tells him, Harry, I should say, says that he fears that never coming in contact with his wife again, meaning he'd never seeing her again, which is kind of sad. I think almost a lot of army soldiers probably fear that.
And my pussycat, I'd miss not seeing. I'm scared of losing my little pussycat.
Yeah. Anyway, while they're talking, suddenly a giant cow flies down falls from the trees, which makes me think of
cows don't fly.
Yeah, which makes me think of Monty Python's Holy Grail, where a cow falls from the trees and stuff and crashes on them. Yeah. Anyway,
I wonder if they got that idea from there.
Probably, who knows? Anyway, they noticed that it was not. It wasn't.
It hadn't been killed; it had been chewed.
It was chewed, and they were. Should they report this in? No, necessarily. No, there's no.
You get a lot of flying cows around here.
Yeah, there's no point. It could have been a wolf, for all we know, and we're not far gone. So the next morning, they're continuing on, and then we see the remaining. They go to the remaining dead members of the other. The platoon group, but that's been killed, and Captain Ryan is alive, and he just keeps going whining about. We were told there was only one. There was one.
He's babbling on.
Babbling weirdly, and they then trade in their fake guns with real guns.
The special services guys had.
Yeah, because they realize they're in mortal danger. They start hearing growls and movement in the woods, and we do get a POV shot of the animals in the woods, which have a black and white view
every time you're doing POV shots from the creature's point of view, it was black and white.
Yeah, I think it's clever.
Interesting,
smart
because,
move.
Well, some creatures don't see colour. We have been told anyway.
Anyway, so they start hearing things, and so they scatter, try to get away. And one of their members gets killed, obviously. I think it was Bruce.
Bruce is running through the woods, and he's looking over his shoulder, and he runs straight into a dropped tree branch with a point on it, and impales him straight through the chest.
Yeah,
what a way to go.
Yeah, it reminds me of Tucker and Dale versus Evil in that scene where the boy darts into the woods and then spears himself through the gut. And he does get the werewolf does approach and kill him off screen.
And Sergeant Wells gets attacked and his stomach ripped open, all his guts are hanging out, but he doesn't actually die.
Yeah. We then eventually meet what's her name, Megan. And she's in a car, and she drives them to a sort of...
she says there's a house just down the road here, I can take you there.
Yeah, they get there, and... Rat-tat-tat, no one's at home.
Funny that, but the door's open.
Yeah, the door's open, and Cooper enters, and he hears a rustling, noise inside a cupboard, or not cupboard, in a next room.
Next room or something.
And he opens it, and he sees a dog jumping out. Yeah. At first, he was about to shoot it, but actually, he's a rather friendly dog.
Sam the dog, very nice.
Yeah, and we see the place. It's well littered. there's fires burning in different parts of the room. Like it's just been being used a while ago. Like,
there's something on the stove, cooking a dinner and stuff.
There's food on the table, plates, dishes, finger forks.
They've just been interrupted, like saying, okay, have these people run off in a hurry because there's a problem?
Yeah, it's something weird. Anyway, so they all get inside, and some of the members start nibbling on the food. They find a stew on the stove.
And Megan says, she's eating these people's food. Well, they're not here. The food's there, and one of the first things soldiers are trained is to make use of what they find along the way, which they're doing. Which is, I gather, real.
Yeah, it's a pork stew, which
yummy.
Pork
is yummy.
Anyway, they take their platoon leader upstairs to one of the bedrooms to look after his wounds, and this is where their special defense training comes into handy. Like, they use special glue, some ordinary glue to patch up the wounds. It wasn't
ordinary glue, it was super glue. Super glue was originally made, I believe, for the military, so when they're in action like this, if they get a wound, they can pour some of the glue onto the wound and seal it. And then when they get back to their base or wherever the medic is, they can fix that properly.
Yes, clever, really, when you think about it. Anyway,
Very clever.
The dog continues to be a good friend to some of the members. At one point, when the werewolves start trying to attack again, he actually starts chewing on his platoon leader's wounds out.
Yeah.
I mean, bear in mind, the intestines are all over the place.
Yeah, they'd come loose and be stuck. The dermis and epidermis have been ripped open to show his guts. How's that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Yucky.
So, anyway.
The dog was having a nice chew.
Yeah, the dog was having a nice chew. And then we watch as let me see. What happens next? Oh, yeah. They try to stop the wolves from entering. All the time they're trying to keep the place barricaded off. Like the Night of the Living Dead, only a little different. Yeah.
Whatever.
We then we do see some photos of the occupants of the house. Just a family, a couple of boys, a daughter.
Kids,
And we don't know much about them, obviously, except for Meg, who says that they're a nice couple and
nice family and stuff, and yada yada yada.
Anyway, we then learn later on from Captain Ryan. He says that him and his platoon came there so they can take back one of these werewolf creatures, so they can train for warfare. But unfortunately, they didn't know that it would be a pack of werewolves.
Yeah, they thought there was only one hanging around. Where there's one, there's another one.
Yeah,
how you would have had a mummy and a daddy werewolf, maybe?
And, if they've been around for centuries, then no doubt there's going to be puppies. I'm sorry, I'm using...
Puppies.
Well, Mike, I mean, that's the better term I could think of, considering the fact... no doubt, ordinary people cannot live forever, and werewolves, no doubt, cannot live forever.
They chew each other up and bite somebody else and infect them.
They eventually age and they die, just like any other animal. Yeah. So they can't live forever.
Get picked up and go to the pound and stuff,
Anyway, whenever the werewolves start appearing, they start flashing a camera in their face. I guess the flash on the camera kind of scares them away. Of course, that doesn't always work. Eventually, they were able to make sure they keep away at one point, but it's difficult because this house the soldiers are occupying, is actually the very werewolf's house.
That's where they live.
And this is where my Three Little Bears and Goldilocks come into play here, where Goldilocks comes to the house, steals the food, and makes herself in
someone sleeping in the bed.
Yes. And I don't think the werewolves care. Too much. Because so you guys know, the werewolves are pretty much organized. They're not always attacking most of the time. Most of the time, they're organized.
They're thinking werewolves, not just running around silly.
They also destroy their vehicle, their means of transport.
Yeah, they ripped the motor apart on Megan's car that they came there in.
Yeah.
And
they also found out there might be another car inside a barn
nearby.
So they use one of the guys to distract the werewolves using a flare, while the other one tries to go inside there and tries to get the car. Of course, when he gets to the car, we see one of the werewolves there, and he is nibbling on one of the other men who was disappeared earlier.
Yeah.
And he had his throat. He was still alive, but then when the werewolf tears off his head, he's dead, obviously. And
that'll do it. Yeah.
And this particular guy who is still in the car, he does get nibbled on by one of the werewolves, and he gets torn apart, obviously. And yeah, so anyway, that's another one out, dead. Anyway, and they figured that the werewolves are holed up inside the barn. So they think if they destroy the barn, they destroy the werewolves. And it's hard to tell how many werewolves are still around because they shot a couple of them, but
But normal bullets don't kill a werewolf. It's got to be a silver bullet or a silver sword or yada yada yada.
Yeah, so it's a little hard because they're using whatever's at their disposal to kill them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they come up with a plan, and they eventually distract the werewolves while Cooper tries to use gasoline to make a bit of a, try to burn the place down. Of course, when one of the guys with matches he tries to light some matches, but they're not doing so well. But eventually, his commander, Harry, was able to pull out one of those...
he made a Molotov cocktail.
And he throws it at it, and eventually the barn burns up in a big, very quickly.
Yeah.
And eventually... but we soon learn, Meg tells them the truth, that she has been converted to being a werewolf.
Yes, and she was part of this family group.
Yeah, she was probably aware of what they're doing, and she... in turn, tells them that they would never hold up in the barn in the first place. They probably were there, but then they moved on, obviously. And now they're inside the cabin with them.
Well, she opened the back door to let them in.
Yeah. And now we have, 3 or 4 werewolves. I should mention, Captain Ryan, he's actually turned into a werewolf too,
Because he'd been obviously bitten by them when he got ripped open and he got clawed or something.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, clawed,
and we also learn Harry is also doomed to become a werewolf. He hasn't turned.
But he's getting ready to turn.
Yeah. I think that it's a matter of self-control.
No, it takes a while for the blood
to get affected. It takes a while for it to get affected, maybe.
Yeah.
It usually depends. Anyway... eventually, Cooper shoots Megan, and they quickly try to get away from the werewolves as much as they could. Of course, one of the other men gets killed by them as he's trying to fight them off, and Cooper and Harry, they quickly try to make their way through the toilets into one of the bedrooms, and they're in this closet. They go into a closet, and they find... some bones from the previous people who may have died, in the woods. So meaning that
they found some bones in their backpacks and other good groovy things.
Yeah. Meaning these guys, this family has been doing this for centuries. Meaning they've been holed up for
done about centuries, but doing it for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. Mm-hmm. Making eating the travelers and all that stuff. Oh, I should mention...
meat is scarce,
Yeah, I should mention... Cooper mentioned that about the hikers in passing and how they just disappeared and all that stuff.
Found them.
Yeah, anyway. So they continue through the house, and we soon get back to the kitchen, and Harry says he's a dead man walking, and he says the only way to get through this is for Cooper to try to live through this. So Harry is a dead man walking, so he decides to get him into the basement while he using the gas from the stove.
Yeah, he cuts off the gas line from the stove, or from the supply to the gas. To the gas oven, whatever, so the room starts to fill with gas.
Yeah, he starts filling up with gas, and he then takes out his lighter, and then...
And no, he doesn't. He takes his lighter and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, bugger." And then he just looks over, just when he's starting to turn, his eyes go yellow, he looks at the oven or the stove, and he throws his hand up against it and hits the piezoelectric starter on it, which sparks and sets the room ablaze, and... boom.
Yeah, I should mention Sam the dog is with Cooper at this point.
In the basement area, and they were safe. Yeah, they're lovely. Yeah. No dogs were hurt during the making of this film. Yes. Maybe a few werewolves, but no dogs.
Yeah, the next morning, I think, Cooper and the dog are alive and well, and as they're walking, trying to make their way out, Captain Ryan, as the werewolf, is still around, and he starts attacking Cooper. And of course, Cooper was able to find the special silver
letter opener thing.
And he pretty much stabs Captain Ryan with it. And eventually, he takes his gun and shoots the werewolf right in the head.
Oh, shame.
Then we watch him die and get the camera all wet. And they both, Cooper and Sam, they make their way to what's left of the house, which is all nothing but a pile of rubble. And then we flash to the credits, and which in post-credits form we see photos from the camera, which I mentioned. I keep wondering how the camera may have survived at this point.
Once he took his boss,
what?
Wells, Sergeant Wells or whatever, he took the film out of the camera. They were using the flash at the werewolves and gave him the film out of the camera to pocket it and said, take this with you. Yeah.
And then we see a newspaper that says, my platoon being eaten by werewolves. And we see next to it the football results. Yeah. So you guys know, they keep going on about the football things.
Football's very important, even if the werewolves are chasing you. What's the score? Wait up. Hang on a second.
Of course, it becomes the less interesting of the pieces, so it was not very popular news, unlike the football game. So that the movie ends there, obviously.
Fade to
black. And I got to admit, though, I do think this movie's it has lots of appeal, and I think it's enjoyable. And also, I do wonder. It keeps talking about the full moon, stuff like that, but we see Captain Ryan still a werewolf, and it's broad daylight.
Yes. So
what does that tell you?
They've lied. No, they bent the rules for the movie. Okay.
I know, but they talk about by the next morning things will be. The werewolves will be gone, but we've seen them wandering around during daylight hours.
That's what I'm saying. That for this movie, they've bent the mythology that surrounds werewolves.
It may be the fact that these werewolves, the shapeshifters, they probably shapeshift at will. Like, they use whatever strong emotions they have to turn them into werewolves.
Their emotions. Hey, there's fresh meat in the forest, let's go hunting. And they all turn to werewolves and go hunting.
Yeah, so...
who knows?
And that's why they somehow maintain a bit of intelligence about them. Instead of being... they're pretty much act like, soldiers. Like they're very intelligent.
In their own little way. Like in Jurassic Park, the three velociraptors would hunt in a pack. One stands in front of the prey, and the other one goes left, and one goes right, and they attack from the side. Well, they'll use basic attack skills.
Yeah, interesting you said that, Mike. When you talked about Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, this makes me think of when in Jurassic World that the guys there were trying to weaponize dinosaurs and make them into weapons. This makes me think of this movie where they're trying to get a werewolf and try to weaponize it for wartime or stuff.
Well, actually, just going back to the end of the movie, it came out when Ryan was talking to Wells and Cooper, that he was on a special mission to capture a werewolf. Sarah mentioned that earlier. I thought it was only one of them. The idea was he was on a special mission to capture one to supposedly bring back to their command post or whatever, so the army could check it out for their scientists to see if they can actually make these guys and train them or whatever. But the thing was, he also said that Sergeant Wells's platoon, Harry's platoon, was put there as bait, and they were expendable. They were there to draw the werewolves out. Yeah. That's not very nice.
Turns out Captain Ryan's group was the ones that brought them out.
Maybe that went backfire because there was more than one of them and they got attacked first. So but anyway, that's what happened. So Harry's group was put there, as a bait.
Yeah, they were this whole exercise that was planned by them, told by their superiors, was all a lie on their part to get them to smoke out the werewolf.
Exactly.
Or the werewolves, I should say, considering that there was more than one, roaming the woods.
What was that movie that the girl, like a Red Riding Hood type thing?
Oh, that would be a Red Riding Hood, obviously.
No, it wasn't Red Riding Hood. It was called
something else. I think you mean Company of Wolves.
Company of Wolves, yeah. That had something similar. The wolves there interacting and humans and stuff and blah, blah. And remember the old lady was saying, beware of the men, something about hairy beast or something or other.
Yeah, something with their eyes.
One eyebrow or something. Yeah, things like that.
One eye.
I think the eyebrows meet or something. Yeah, just going back. So these ones there. So these guys in that movie were interacting with human beings and changing backwards and forwards and stuff. So a bit like this one, maybe.
It would have been nice if we could have seen the family at the beginning. Like we get a glimmer of them, but I guess. At the time, the actors were unavailable, so they just left. They kind of just left it as a bit of a Easter egg for the audience to work out that the family themselves were the werewolves hunting the hikers and the soldiers throughout the movie. I don't know. As I said before, who knows how long they've been in wolf form. I mean, they could have been doing it they may transform, not just because there's a full moon. Maybe that's when
these ones were a bit different because they wanted them to be different for the movie.
Yeah.
Get over it.
I know. It just meant that in some movies that they don't naturally have to need the full moon to shapeshift. Sometimes it's usually like in other movies, like the Van Helsing one. It makes out that after say 1 or 2 full moons, that person turns into a werewolf permanently.
Here's something for you. I was just looking at a few notes here. The film contains homages to H.G. Wells, Henry Wells, as well as the films The Evil Dead. Has some similarities. Somebody actually mentioned the movie Zulu, where a small group of soldiers had to fight off all these Zulus.
Yeah.
And so there was mention of the Zulu movie.
Yeah.
Aliens, because aliens were attacking people. Yeah, they were shapeshifters and morphing and stuff, and critters and stuff, and so same sort of thing. And the Matrix. I'm not sure about the Matrix part.
The Matrix was mentioned because one of the characters whose name is Spoon was a character in Matrix 2.
Oh, okay, fine.
And the H.G. Wells guy, obviously, is Harry Wells, obviously.
Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. Now, I'm trying to figure out where that one works into it, but...
Me neither.
I didn't see any spaceships or anything. But...
All I should tell you guys is that the people who are playing the werewolves are not stuntmen or anything like that.
No,
they're dancers.
Because they wanted delicate animal-like moves.
Yeah.
To say, because not like people just walk around like Frankenstein. So they use dancers. And actually, I was talking to you about that other movie, that zombie movie where they had a lot of zombie people there chasing. It could be one of the Resident Evil movies or something. And they use dancers for that because if you're going to do multiple shots of the same group, you want the people to end up in the same place, in the same group, next to the same person. Otherwise, all of a sudden, all the people are going to get mixed up, and you're going to say, well, that person was over there before, now he's over there. How did that happen? So they use dancers to follow a dance routine in the crowd.
Yes,
so to make the movements join together.
Yes, so that's what sort of occurred in the movie, guys. So, anyway, as I was saying, I did think it was pretty interesting, especially the bit with the regarding the fact that these soldier guys were given the royal runaround by being forced, not really forced, taking part in an exercise, and then finding out that they were just a mask for getting the werewolves out of there, to appear as in full form, so they can try to track them down and try to get them, obviously. And of course, I think it's nice that Cooper was able to survive and take the film back to the newspapers and tell them what his story.
But no one believes him. Anyway,
at least the dog can clarify a story.
Yeah, he can corroborate it. Ruff, 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 ruff. That's going to really help.
Yeah, I think the dog liked Cooper when I think about it.
Yeah, did he hump his leg? No.
I think he kind of naturally was concerned about him, obviously.
Anyway.
I mean, I do wonder why the dog was always confined. Why couldn't he... Unless the dog...
They didn't want to eat their dog.
Yeah, I mean, at one point we do, when the werewolves attacked the house, we see the dog interacting with the werewolves, and he does growl at them like he doesn't really like them much.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't like how his owners are taking advantage of people.
Yeah. Anyway, now, can I talk about the things now?
For sure.
Okay. I won't go into too much. This was put together, whatever, by the man, whatever. Now, the production designer, Stephen Bowles, created models of the house.
Okay.
To plan and structure where to set up the camera. So everything was designed so the inside of the house wasn't real, but so it was designed so they can actually place the cameras. So the camera 1, camera 2, whatever, blah blah blah, and so we make the rooms that shape and size so we can actually do the filming properly. Interesting. And the house they used, the outside facade was actually made. There's nothing behind it. So when it blew up, there's actually nothing there.
Yeah, that was cool.
Interesting. Now, getting down to the bottom, I saw something here. Where was it? Oh, yeah, filming. Okay. Principal photography was originally scouted and planned to commence in the Isle of Man due to its tax rebates, but the idea fell through. Okay. Manitoba was later considered as a filming location due to tax reasons, but that idea collapsed as well.
Damn.
Now, the film was shot in Luxembourg due to tax deals and having access to crew and student facilities provided by the company based in Luxembourg. So students must come on there, work experience and other things maybe.
Well, you did say, Mike, before that Neil, this is his first, his film debut, and that kind of gained him popularity after this project.
But he had people behind him. He had people come on board as producers and stuff, and they knew the industry a bit better, and they helped him get through. Anyway, had a bit of snow problem, which slowed him down a little bit.
I can imagine, considering that that England, aside from America, would have. I mean,
Luxembourg.
Well,
it's Europe.
Europe it would often have a bit of a snowy time there, just like America has. We don't have much snow. We do get cold, obviously.
In some areas down the bottom end of Australia gets snow, but not up. We're in Queensland, sunshine state, very nice.
Yeah, except it's cold.
A bit like California, probably, but a bit more humid.
Anyway, go on.
Now, reception. I won't go into the reception, but pretty much, basically, Rotten Tomatoes got an 80% on it. I think it was great.
That's good to know.
What else? Blah 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 blah. Another one. Somebody else gave it a 4 out of 5. Called a rip-roaring comedy action fest. Well, I didn't say it was that comedy, but it was a bit tongue in cheek. So
there was a bit of humour in it.
Another one gave another 4 out of 5, and say most of the critics liked it. And I'm just wondering, maybe something else came out at the same time, which so it didn't get box office as good as it could have. But having said that, you got the home media side of things as well. So it's probably picked up a few dollars.
It is true because I didn't knew about it even back then. I mean, I would have. Maybe it wasn't given a good distributing release.
Well, maybe not. Maybe. Who was the producer? Who was the
Neil
production company? Yeah, we do. I got some notes here. Blah 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 blah. Distributed by Pathé, P-A-T-H-E, which is European or English. So it may not have reached the American market. I don't know. Oh no, it probably did. Country there. I'm just looking at releases and stuff. Let's see if it's got any notes here. Reception, development. No, I don't know. In the United States, the film premiered as a Sci-Fi Pictures telefilm on the Skyfire.
Oh, telly.
So it may not have hit the cinemas.
So it hit the television or hit Fox.
It might have made the cinemas in England, but not in America.
Yeah. That explains a lot.
Yeah, that's what
So it may have went directly to television or Fox.
Apart from it being in England might have had it in the cinemas, and some European countries might have had it.
Yeah.
But the rest went to
and the rest would have gone directly to distributing on DVD or video.
Yeah, the DVD, that sort of stuff.
Well, video more, because that was back in the 2000s.
That's probably what happened. So
yes, this is back in 2002, and DVDs were a new thing.
Home media. Dog Soldiers was released on DVD in the US in November 2002. And considering it was actually made in 2002, it didn't reach the cinemas, I don't believe.
Shame.
That's probably why it didn't make big dollars. But the home media might have picked up on it. There was going to be a sequel. I won't talk about that.
Yeah, shame about that. I would have loved to see where the story would have gone. Yeah, when you think about it.
Now, having said all that,
obviously.
I'm going to rate it now.
Okay, time for rating time, guys.
Now, bearing in mind also that this man, Neil Marshall, it was his first directorial
debut.
His debut. I'm going to say, for a first up, and he wrote the story as well, and he edited it.
He's a smart man.
I'm going to give it a bit more than I would normally give it. I'm going to give it a 9.5 because this guy did it all. He directed it, rewrote, directed, and edited it, and it came out as a pretty damn good product. Yeah, it may not have been top of the pile as A movies, but I think it's an A movie. I think the storyline wasn't bad. The theme was good. The twist at the end was pretty good. Yeah, there's a lot of thought that went into it. And it was a reason. I wouldn't say it was a budget movie. He spent a couple of mil on it, but I think it was money well spent.
I agree, money well spent. And, especially it's not my money.
I haven't seen what he's done since. I didn't go online to have a look what other movies he's made. But if this is a sample, he's probably gone from strength to strength because obviously anyone seeing this and say, hey, this guy can put up the goods.
This guy is really good.
9.5 from me. What do you reckon?
I'm going to give it 9.5 out of 10 myself. Yeah. I mean, I love it, and I love the fact that he put a lot of creative thought into it, and creative freedom into it.
Oh, and he didn't use CGI, did he?
No, he didn't. He used costumes and special effects, makeup, stuff like that.
Yeah,
but he didn't, and he did it all. Old school.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it worked.
And I don't like the fact when people use too much CGI.
Look, CGI is a good tool. Yes, it's not necessarily cheap. You must have a couple of years ago, it's a cheap way. It's not a cheap way out, but it can get things into a movie you probably couldn't get normally. But the point is, too much CGI can destroy a movie.
I agree.
This guy did it natural, old school. People dressed up and they look real. They were scary, and the film was good. The camera guy, the cinematography work was good. Yeah, it's a good watch. So yeah, that's why 9.5 from me and 9.5 from Sarah. It's worth it. Now, availability, folks.
Here it comes.
eBay, there's plenty for sale. Amazon, you can rent it. There are some for sale there as well. However, you might find it on a streaming site somewhere. If there might be a sci-fi streaming site, it could be hanging around there, even though it's an older movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, if not, get it through Amazon. Get a rental if you like it. Buy it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good watch. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, I would watch it again. I think it has some interesting scenes, and I like the fact that that it's unlike other werewolf movies when I think about it.
And the werewolves didn't win. And the werewolves didn't win. But the other guys didn't win either. Everyone died apart from Cooper and the dog. And the dog survived.
What about Cooper? He survived too?
Well, he's a dog. No.
Considering the fact he did get out and he told the media and told them about told his story, even though whether or not the public believed him is another story.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know. But you.
But at least Sam, the dog, has found a new home. The dog believes him.
He lived with them.
And he probably wasn't too pleased that his owners are turning into monsters.
No, not very nice.
Anyway, so that's Dog Soldiers.
Woof, 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 woof.
I do think it's pretty good, and I think that it's definitely worth watching.
This would be a good watch. It's something a bit different. I mean, there's vampire movies, and there's werewolf movies, and there's yada yada. Yeah. And I'm not going to say a lot of them are samey, because they're not all samey, but it's nice to see a slightly fresh take on it. We were talking about that thing in that movie had something similar with the Wolf Patrol. Yeah.
That Creep Show TV episode they did where these soldiers from World War One and World War Two were trying to get away getting away from these Nazi soldiers, and they end up holed up in this house, and there they meet this lady who turned them into werewolves so they can fight their way out of their.
Because otherwise, they would have been killed by the enemy soldiers. They had a choice if they turned into werewolves, they would survive. If they refused to do so, the enemy soldiers would come and kill them. So they took the way out, said, okay, we'll become werewolves, and then went and attacked the German soldiers. Very, very nice.
Very smart.
Yeah, I think it's called Wolf Patrol on one of the Creep Show films. Yeah. It was Creep Show 3, was it?
Yeah, I think it was. It was the first season, obviously, of in Creep Show series.
That's the show. Yeah, sorry, not the movie. Yeah, no, it's quite interesting. I liked it.
Yeah, and I hope they do come back with more episodes soon. I mean, I would love to see a continuation going. Yeah.
Anyway,
well, not a continuation. Just it is an anthology, and we all know anthologies are.
I like short and sweet stuff. You know, when you get those things like Tales to Crypt movies and other things, you got 3 or 4 stories in and stuff. You're short and sweet, straight to the point. You might have 3 or 4 different directors running the 3 or 4 different projects, and you put them all together. They've got the same theme, sort of thing.
Yeah. But the one thing I like about it is that the fact that they're taking Stephen King's work and his son Joe Hill's work, I should say.
Yeah, Joe Hill, yeah.
And they're turning them into good stories to put in this TV series.
They've inspired other people to write and produce similar type stuff. Yeah.
I mean, most of the other stories that have never seen the light of day. Well, that's not true. I mean, they have been seen the light of day, but they've just not been known because most of those ones are Stephen King's short stories, and you only have to get in a very big volume of sorts in order to enjoy.
Sometimes short stories don't quite make it to the movies. You look at like Edgar Allan Poe stuff. That Roger Corman picked up on that, and he made a few of those early Vincent Price movies were based on Edgar Allan Poe stories. But some were actually short stories, and there's one there, Case of Amontillado or something rather.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And The Black Cat, they joined 2 stories together to make the movie called The Black Cat. But it takes an insightful person with a great imagination.
Yeah. It is interesting that some of Stephen King's movies do turn into anthologies, like the Cat's Eye, about a cat who is going to who goes to different places around the areas to try to find this little girl that he must protect from a
troll.
And along the way, he encounters a lot of other characters,
weird scenarios and stuff, and survives.
And most of those stories were taken from Stephen King's work, obviously.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, do you want to kill us now?
Might as well. So, guys, that's Dog Soldiers. So I highly recommend watching it.
It's a good watch. It's not going to be. There's action in it, and there's the horror with the werewolves, but it's not too horrific. And it's not. There's enough action in it to keep it interesting, and the story flows quite nicely.
I agree.
So it's got a good mix in it, and I think it works.
Yeah, totally does. So, anyway, thanks for listening to our latest podcast, everyone. And this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around. And we'll see you guys in our next podcast in the next couple of days. All right. Bye for now.
Goodbye.